these billionaires have their bunkers. I was just in New Zealand, and that's the place where they've all decided to build their bunkers. And I actually learned for the first time why they all chose New Zealand. It's because there was an analysis of where that if nuclear bombs detonate, like the probability of where they would detonate. When you look at the map of the blast radius, New Zealand is almost always outside of that blast radius. So that's why they're building their bunkers there. You know, like that, they will be fine. However, the world ends, they're going to exist outside of that. And that's why they can exist in this space where they neither have any kind of moral responsibility for actually ushering in a better world, and nor do they have any ramifications for not taking on that responsibility.
Counterpoint, the billionaires will not be fine because their biggest problem is not nuclear warfare, okay? It is climate change. And there is nothing a bunker can do for you to protect you from a cliff eroding into the sea when the sea levels rise. And the acidification makes the weather systems more problematic because the ocean is too hot and acidic. And blah, blah, blah. There's, let's not talk about the fact that we're depleting the water tables and not recharging them, causing a lot of sinkholes to just inexplicably open up, which will be exacerbated by the fact that we're having an uptick in earthquakes lately and volcanic activity, which, against popular belief, are not isolated incidents. The volcanic systems are all connected under the Earth's mantle. It's like the Earth circulatory system. So if you're seeing like earthquakes and stuff happening in certain ways, it's going to affect volcanoes in certain areas and like vice versa. Like everything's playing into each other. And while we're not the cause of the volcanic activity, although I will say our oil drilling has not done us any favors at all. We actually know it can cause disruptions that can create earthquakes, and the fossil fuel industry wants people to keep quiet about that. But I also want you to consider the fact what conditions are required to create that much oil somewhere. Because it's not actually prehistoric animals, it's prehistoric plants. So what conditions would have to be created to basically fossilize a bunch, like all at once, organic matter, and like to ferment it into oil after all these years? Like sudden volcanic activity and so on. So when you go tapping these gas chambers, because they're also tapping in for natural gas, and you just empty them, that's also going to disrupt that system. So even that, to some extent, is being interfered with and exacerbated by human activity that is not going regulated. And that's, the billionaires are not going to be fine, no. And I'm okay with that, because you can't just absolve yourself of your responsibility to your home by thinking you can just bypass it and thinking there's a secret hack to get out of needing to repair the harm you've done. And even if we're not the ones who helped to do that harm, it is still our responsibility, and giving up is lame. And if you can just give up on the world and assume it's just going to end and there's nothing you can do about it, then it absolves you of the harm that you leave behind here, and it gives you permission to give up and not have to even do even a remote lick of the work that is required to help even begin to repair the damage you have caused. So I also, they're not made of sterner stuff than you and me. They have no muscle to survive hardship or discomfort of any kind. So no, they're not going to be okay, and that's okay. Has anyone checked in on Florida lately? How many sinkholes are just opening up and just inexplicably swallowing houses? It's actually way worse than they're letting on. They don't want the public to know because they want the real estate to still be viable, which it's already not because it's going to be underwater. So, no, the billionaires are not going to be fine, and I don't give a shit that they're not going to be fine. Because if you think that, squirreling away enough beans and slaves and stuff in your weird underground bunker cities, is going to protect you from, the forces of Earth, that's so funny to me. Because, look, I don't want to put any evil out there. I don't know the future of New Zealand, but considering how small it is and how absolutely surrounded by water, and knowing that it's going to rise after a certain point, okay, maybe you're underground enough. I don't know, but the math isn't mathing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here.